Hello everybody, it's Cparty here, and welcome back to our Pokemon Mission Blue Rescue Team. In the last episode, we ventured to the top of Mount Freeze to encounter Ninetales, and we found out that we aren't the Pokemon of legend that did all that horrible stuff with like Gardevoir, whatever, blah blah blah. And we returned to Pokemon Square. Everybody found out that Gengar is a huge fat liar. I guess he is kind of round. And, well, we're back here. We're at the base, and we're a rescue team again. The game isn't really giving us a lot of information to go on right now, other than get back to rescuing, which I suppose is what we do best. So, what I'm going to do is, first I do want to show, because as I said last episode, this is actually my third time recording this. These two episodes were always recorded together. If we go and talk to anybody in Pokemon Square, actually, like say Mr. Green Kecleon right here. I'm so sorry. I was awfully convinced of your guilt, Skipper. But I'm glad to hear you're free from that cloud of suspicion. I'll never give you my business again. I hope you won't say that. Hello. Okay. Every single person in Pokemon Square will have a special thing they say like, oh, no, I swear I didn't believe that you were the person, you know, I always believed in you, whatever. What Shiftry say? So, what became of Alakazam's team? They head underground? Groudon. Mythical Pokemon. It's rather worrying. But I suppose it is Alakazam's team. They should be fine. So yeah, everybody will be pretty normal, have their kind of things to say. And all we're led on right now is to go back and get back to rescuing. There are a bunch of new Makihita Dojo dungeons that actually popped up. If we go and not talk behind them, but this works. If we see, we have normal, fire, ice, bunch of new ones. So what I'm going to be doing is this episode's going to be kind of a lot of montage-y style stuff, not a lot of story progress, although there will be something happening in this. Is I'm going to check a bunch of messages like this. I'm going to be going through all of the dungeons that we went through, and now that we're back in Pokemon Square, obviously we can recruit Pokemon again for our big ol' rescue team. So I'm going to go take care of Makihita Dojo dungeons, go do rescue missions for each of the dungeons that we went through already, and go through bios for every single Pokemon there, and then maybe some extra stuff, because there was a mechanic that could have popped up in the previous dungeons that didn't happen. When I recorded this episode previously, they did happen, so I really hope that it happens again. And then just some random little extra stuff, and then I'll see you guys back when I have something to say, I suppose. It'll probably be like 5 seconds for you and like an hour for me. Oh, because I haven't shown this off yet, I haven't actually thrown the Iron Thorn yet. Yeah, by the way, this is the Psychic Maze. It's literally nothing but Wobbuffets, and let me just say, a Wobbuffet that can attack directly, because the basic attack is this in Mystery Dungeon, is terrifying. We throw it, see, it did 29 damage. That's a lot of damage, actually. That's a surprising amount, and wow, that's really great misses. This is gonna be really fun. Alright, that's all the Makihita Dojo dungeons done. I thought the ice one was gonna be the hardest one this time, because last time I did this, I brought Almond in on one of them, and then Jacob in on the other attempt, and they all had to use at least one Reviver Seed on the ice maze. It was really annoying. Almond got like one shot by Powder Snow. It went perfectly this time. Almond used 2 Reviver Seeds on the fire maze. It got hit by like 2 embers from a Magby, and took like 1,000,000 damage for whatever reason. And then, I'm trying to remember how I used the other one, but it was like so embarrassing. I can't believe it happened. So now I'm going to move on to rescue team missions, I suppose, and go through on bios for all the areas that we're going to be going through. First off, starting with Lapis Cave. Wow, it's been a while since we've done this. We're going to start with a Pokemon that I'm sure all of you out there who play Pokemon have seen way too many of throughout your entire lifetime. It's Zubat. Zubat's main claim to fame in the main games, that there were way too many of the same sounds right there, is that it's really, really, really freaking fast. Of course, that's not really that important in Mystery Dungeon, so it's kind of whatever. Its ability is okay. It's just a pretty average poison flying type. But it's not as bad as you might think it is for how common it is in the main series Pokemon games. We also have its evolved form, Golbat, same great Pokemon. I think the Zubat line is actually pretty underrated in general, especially in the mainline Pokemon games. Just because you see them so often doesn't mean that they're bad Pokemon. Next up, speaking of pairs of Pokemon, we have Nidorina and Nidorino. These are the evolved forms of the Nidorans that we saw earlier, the original gendered Pokemon. Nidorina is more defensive and Nidorino is leaning more towards offense. They have pretty good abilities of Poison Point, and they're just pretty decent Pokemon overall. I know their main claim to fame in the Gen 1 games is that they evolve really fast, so they're pretty useful in speedruns, specifically Nidoking for like sweeping the game. But honestly, not half bad at Pokemon. We have a personal favorite of mine for this evolutionary line is Nincada. Oh, okay, no, I need to correct myself on this. I'm pretty sure, I'll have to check Pokédex 3D on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Nincada because it's supposed to be a pun off of cicada. It's a bug ground type, which is kind of a bad type, being quad weak to flying, but it's not so bad offensively. It has 90 base defense, which is honestly like way too much. Like that's pretty decent. Its evolutions are pretty interesting Pokemon in the main series games. I don't know how good they are in Mystery Dungeon though. Compound Eyes at least is a fantastic ability, especially in Mystery Dungeon. It's just a passive +2 accuracy, so that's pretty incredible. And you know, I like this Pokemon, so it's pretty great. Next up, the original pure grass type of Gen 1. This is Tangela. Tangela is kind of a weird tank hybrid Pokemon, having 115 base defense and 100 special attack. It's not really going to help it with some, well, I guess it'll help it with some of its weaknesses, specifically against flying. It's not going to take that much. Chlorophyll, not really that great of an ability, but Tangela is actually not a half bad Pokemon for what it really wants to do. It has that big defense stat and 100 base special attack. It can deal out some damage. Next up, a very kind of weird Pokemon from Gen 3. They have a lot of really odd ones like this. Illumise, and yes, it is pronounced Illumise. That is what the anime says, and Pokédex 3D. It's also its Japanese name, so it is Illumise. It's a pure bug type. It has a pretty terrible ability of Oblivious. Infatuation has always not been very good, and its stats are just, they're decent, I guess. 85 special defense, 85 speed, but I don't know. I just don't like Illumise. And finally for Lapis Cave, we have a Pokemon that evolves into quite possibly one of the most overpowered Pokemon of all time. We have Bagon. Bagon has a great ability of Rock Head. It has some pretty decent stats for being in basically baby form. I'm going to use some Digimon terminology there. It's a rookie. But if you're looking forward to maybe doing the E word at some point, you will probably pick up one of the most overpowered Pokemon of all time with this one. Skipper Innocent, Part 1. He met with Ninetales on Mount Freeze. Ninetales testified that Skipper was not the human that appeared in the legend. As a result, Gengar's claims are found to be malicious lies. They clearly just made Gengar's quote, "Ah!" As a result of that last expedition that we went on, we actually got a lot of TMs that I would like to go over. Luckily, they appeared in Lapis Cave. We have Secret Power. This inflicts damage, and it depends on the terrain the effects that it has. So in the main series games, it can be something like Swift, I think Razor Leaf if you're on tall grass. I don't know. It's one of those that always changes based on the terrain. It's kind of a fun move. I probably won't teach it, but it's pretty good. Hidden Power. This is one that any main series Pokemon fan knows how it works, and man, it works completely differently in Mystery Dungeon because in the main series games, it depends on stats called individual values, which are different for each Pokemon that will affect its type and its power. Instead, in Mystery Dungeon, it changes with the dungeon, so it could be kind of a fun move to teach. I probably won't, but I'll keep onto it for later. And we have Frustration. Frustration, we had returned before. I believe I already taught that the Hakabashi that scales with your IQ. Frustration is the opposite. It scales based on how low your IQ is. So if you have a Pokemon that you don't really want to dump IQ skills into, but you kind of have them on your team, this could be something really good to teach. It'll probably deal quite a bit of damage. Anyway, back to rescuing. First up, we have what is Nintendo's assumption of giving baby forms to everything that they do. It's Magby from Mount Blaze. Magby's stats are actually pretty decent, but it's kind of like it's trying to be a weird mixed attacker for being a pure fire type, which is not really good at this point in the series. Flame Body is definitely a great ability. I'll give it that. Flame Body is extremely annoying to play against, but yeah, Magby, he's a cute little guy. His Japanese name is Booby, if you like that. And I like his evolution quite a lot too. We have another very weird Gen 3 Pokemon. This is Numel. Numel has honestly a really bad type of fire ground. You never want to be quad weak to water in any Pokemon game, and its stats are pretty lackluster. 60, 60, 65 special attack. I guess it's not horrible. It can mixed attack with its typing and its stats, I guess. Oblivious is also a terrible ability. I don't know, Numble's just not a Pokemon I could ever recommend. We have one of my absolute favorite Pokemon ever made next. This is Shuckle. Shuckle, if you want a wall for a Pokemon, you will never find a better one than this. Look at those stats. It doesn't really have the HP to tank that much, but with those defenses, it doesn't need to. Bug Rock type, pretty good for walling. Sturdy, not as good as it is in later Pokemon games because it gets a massive buff in Gen 5, but good type, wonderful stats for what it's trying to do. It doesn't really have offensive capabilities, but that's not really that bad of a thing. It's still great. I really do love Shuckle a whole lot, and I can highly recommend you pick it up if you really want a wall. I don't even have any words to introduce for this next one. This is Slugma. Slugma is a pure fire type, and while its special attack is actually not so bad at 70, all its other stats are just really terrible, and I guess Magma Armor's okay. Flame Body I already said was a good ability. Slugma is just like okay. If its other stats were better, it could definitely be like a really fantastic Pokemon, but it doesn't even get that much better when it evolves, so Slugma just kind of, it's alright, it's there. And finally from Mount Blaze, we have actually a pretty incredible Pokemon in my opinion, definitely kind of underrated. This is Torkoal. Torkoal has White Smoke, which is definitely a really good ability and has some fantastic stats. Its only problem in the main series games is that it's really freaking slow, but I mean 140 base defense, 85 attack and special attack, I mean, that's kind of weird just trying to be a weird mix attacker, but that's not horrible. I mean, if you eat an Earthquake from this thing, it's gonna hurt. And also, any fire type moves, gonna hurt. Its stats, overall, pretty good physical tank. I really like Torkoal, I think he's kind of underrated. This... a dream again? It's been a while. You're... Gardevoir. Yes, Gardevoir. There's so much I want to ask you. Why do you appear in my dreams? As an agent of spirits, I must watch over you. Because that is my role now. An agent of spirits? Yes. I fell under the curse of Ninetales in the place of a trainer, and became a presence without a physical form like this. Trainer? You mean the human that was in the legend about Ninetales? It's awful that your trainer would abandon you and run away. Yes, my trainer was a terrible person. Mean and conniving, my trainer wasn't a nice person, truly. But I don't hate my trainer. Huh? Don't hate your trainer? Why not? Well, I wonder why myself. I don't quite understand. My trainer did some terrible things, but somehow, I can't bring myself to feel hatred. My trainer had some quirks, but there are some good qualities too. And when it happened, I was desperate. When it happened? You mean Ninetales' curse? Yes. I protected my trainer from Ninetales' curse with my entire being. If the trainer is facing danger, it is our duty to protect the trainer with our lives. We Gardevoir are that way. I kept my trainer safe. That alone was enough to make me happy. Protect the trainer at the risk of your own life. It's amazing what Gardevoir did. Oh, I must mention, I don't mind the form I've taken. I live on in this way with pride in the role I've been given. Role? Yes. All things have a role, they all serve a purpose. Just as I have my own role to play. You too have a role to fill. You have come here to perform a certain role. And for that role, you became a Pokemon. What? What are you saying? Earthquake? No, wait. I need to know more. There's an earthquake. Wasn't there? I think I had that dream again. I think I spoke with Gardevoir. She said something important. That's it. She did say something. You have come here to perform a certain role. And for that role, you became a Pokemon. Gardevoir knows. She knows why I became a Pokemon. She also said something about a role. What does she mean by that? Good morning, Skipper. Huh? What's the matter? Something wrong? Oh, I get it. Earthquake earlier. Skipper, you're worried about the same thing I am. I should have guessed, Skipper. Alakazam's team hasn't come back yet. They say that Groudon is powerful. That's me a little worried. But Alakazam's team is tough too. They should be fine. Anyway, we agreed to let Alakazam deal with Groudon. We don't have any choice. We have to wait for them to come back. We have to do what we can for our part. So let's do our best with the rescue team. Well, I guess we're still gonna be back rescuing. I totally forgot that this happens, even though I've recorded this 3 times. Why not? This is... Wabafet! We have a notice on the bulletin board outside the Pelipper post office. Wabafet! Please look it for me, please, please. Wabafet! Please help me. I have to go now. Wabafet! What was that? What was that all about? That little Pokemon. Did the boy say he was Why Not? I think he wanted us to go look at the bulletin board at the Pelipper post office. Maybe Why Not and his friend have a problem on their hands. So they may have a help wanted notice on the bulletin board. Only one thing to do. Let's go check the Pelipper post office bulletin board. Indeed, I will meet you guys there in a second. Another TM that I picked up in the last expedition that, if you play the main series Pokemon game, you definitely know this move, Toxic. Every single Pokemon that can learn TMs can learn this move. It teaches the move Toxic. It badly poisons the foe Pokemon. So it will be damage over turn like poison, and I believe, I'm not sure, I never actually used this in Mystery Dungeon, so I'm just gonna surmise based on what it does in the main series games, and if not, I'll have a note on screen. The damage it does over time will actually be increased. It will double every turn, like in the main series games. It starts off, in the main series games, it starts off as 1/16 damage, then it does 1/8, then 1/4. So basically, it's an extremely strong poisoning move in the main series games. And I mean, battles don't tend to last very long in Mystery Dungeon, but this could be pretty good in boss fights, so could be a nice thing to keep on. I might use it later. I don't know, I'll have to determine that for myself. But anyway, we have a message to go look at on the bulletin board. If we happen to go look at the bulletin board, we see a message right here. Punish Bad Mankey. Please punish Bad Mankey's gang. Uproar Forest B10F special mission. If we accept it, there's a job posted on the bulletin board which said punish Bad Mankey. Did you two put out that job? Yep. Wabafet! A Bad Mankey gang is going wild in our forest. Everyone's upset. Wabafet! We don't know why they rampage around, but they're always angry and attack anyone they see. Wabafet! Oh no, that is a problem. Skipper, we should go. Thank you, we're counting on you. Wabafet! Place where the Mankey gang is wreaking havoc on others. The Uproar Forest is now open for exploration. So we have a little special mission that we can go take care of. I hate to inform this Why Not this, but I still have 2 dungeons to go through for all this bio stuff. So that's gonna have to wait a second. That will probably be taken care of next episode, but for now I'm gonna keep going through the dungeons and we will see what we can do about more of these recruits and bio stuff, and I'll meet you guys back when I have something to say. Another victim of Nintendo's obsession of giving baby forms to everything. This is a Zurul. A Zurul is just, it's just like a little baby. I mean, look at those stats. Those stats are so terrible. It's not really gonna be doing anything. I mean, huge power, it's an okay ability in Mystery Dungeon. In the main series games, it is fantastic, and Thick Fat is also great. But Thick Fat is definitely the better of its 2 abilities here. Huge power is just, I don't know, the 1 and 3. Most battles in Mystery Dungeon are gonna be over by 3 turns, so unless it's like a boss fight, but really, just look at those stats. It'll get better when it evolves, but as an Azurill, it's really just a baby. The original king of being a terrible Pokemon despite being in every single thing. This is Ditto. Ditto only learns 1 move, which is Transform. It transforms into the opposing Pokemon, and in other games, it would take its moves. That doesn't happen in Mystery Dungeon. Whenever you transform, literally all you can do is struggle, because apparently they want to make Ditto really terrible. There are 2 exclusive Mystery Dungeon TMs that it can learn as well, but every single other Pokemon can also learn them. It has 48 in every stat. And while Limber is a good ability, Ditto is just awful. I tried to use one in my Gen 1 playthrough that I did last time, and I had to drop it because it was that bad. Yeah, really. Next up, a member of one of my other favorite evolutionary lines. This is Lairon. Lairon has two great abilities. I guess the sturdy, you know, not as great, but Rockhead's still really good. And incredible stats. It's typing pretty good for being a physical tank as well. I mean, it's gonna hurt from a ground type move, but other than that, I mean, this thing's really good. I really do like Lairon a lot. It can actually do quite a bit of damage too with that 90 base attack. It's kind of like a mixed like tank DPS hybrid on the physical side, which, I mean, Lairon does that really well, and it's pretty cute. This one is going to evolve into an absolute beast later, but we just have Matang. Matang is still pretty good on its own though. Steel Psychic is a good type. It is going to be pretty weak to ground, but the 100 base defense means it can kind of negate some of that. Clear Body is a freaking incredible ability, and it doesn't really have the special attack to back up its Psychic type right now, but the Steel is going to do quite a bit from that 75 attack. Any sort of like Metal Claw from this Pokemon, that's going to hurt a lot. And oh boy, just wait until it evolves. We have quite possibly one of the strangest looking Pokemon of all time, which is Nosepass. Nosepass, not really very good on the ability front, has basically almost no offensive capabilities, and it is a pretty decent wall. 135 defense is good, and Rock type is pretty decent for a wall. The special defense being 90 is not great, being weak to both grass and rock, not grass and rock, grass and water. So it's gonna take a lot from that, and I don't know, Nosepass is just really weird. Until it evolves in a later generation, I would not recommend it at all, so kind of just is there in Mystery Dungeon. We have one of the original victims of having an awful type. This is Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn has two great abilities, Lightning Rod and Rockhead. Lightning Rod is so good in Mystery Dungeon. If you pair it up with somebody that's weak to electric, man, this thing is a real menace to take out. But if it even gets breathed on by a water or grass type, it's going to go down. Which is sad because other than that, it's actually not half bad. 85 base attack, 95 defense, 80 HP. It's going to be real good against physical attacking Pokemon, but it's just on the special side. If it even gets looked at funny by a water type, it's going down. And one of the other kings of being terrible and also having all of its stats exactly equal, this is Snorunt. Snorunt is a pure ice type, which is pretty much one of the absolute... No, actually probably is one of the worst types you could ever be in all Pokemon, especially defensively. Offensively, it's not horrible, but I mean, with base 50 in every stat, like, come on, what's it gonna do? Is it gonna use an Ice Beam and, like, do 10 damage to Skipper? Inner Focus, it's an okay ability. I mean, not flinching is definitely pretty nice in Mystery Dungeon. A lot of Pokemon end up using a lot of flinching moves. But, I mean, its stats are just so terrible. It doesn't get better when it evolves either. It's trying to be a jack of all trades, and with a pure ice type, it's pretty much the worst thing you could ever be. Now, another mechanic I haven't gotten the chance to show off yet, but is pretty important. Once we're getting into these kind of longer dungeons, these dungeons aren't long at all yet, frankly, compared to some of the late game ones. Well, I guess end game, not late game. But if we go to others, we see quick save, or give up as well. Give up will basically count as if you fainted in the dungeon. But I want to show quick save. Your adventure to this point will be saved in preparation for shutting down, sure. When you resume play, the quick save data will be deleted. This is basically a one-time save, so that you can kind of just leave off if you're in the middle of a very long dungeon, you kind of have to go. You could just quick save, leave it there. When you reload, your save is deleted. You can always quick save again, but this is so you can't just like save, reset, and redo things if things don't go your way. I don't really like playing games like that anyway. I'm the kind of person that if a unit dies in Fire Emblem, whatever. Now, also while I'm on this title screen, there's a Wondermail code that I want to enter because there's something a little important for what I want to show later. We've seen that there are version exclusive Pokemon in this game, and we've already seen them with Plus1 Mine and Thunderwave Cave, and you may be wondering, how are you going to get the other version exclusive Pokemon in this game? Because I did say I'm going to be recruiting all 386 Pokemon in this game, hopefully. And, well, basically how does that happen? I'm going to enter a Wondermail code for a specific mission. This will obviously be different if you're playing Red Rescue Team, and there are a few that work for this. I'm going to be going off of one that I see on Bulbapedia right now, so let me go ahead and I'll enter this. I'll also flash on screen the code you have to enter if you're playing Red Rescue Team, and I'll see you guys in a second. So here's the code that I'm entering for Blue Rescue Team. I will flash on screen, of course, the one for Red Rescue Team. There are a lot of different codes that work for this. Actually, in the 2 different takes I did this, I used like 3 different codes for this. So this is just the one that I'm going with. Receive the Wonder Mail. Your adventure will be saved. Now, I'm going to go back to dungeon crawling. I will meet you back when I'm done with the Frosty Forest mission. I should actually... Okay, you know what? One, I'll show the quick save that leaves us right back where we left off. Another thing that I should show, because this is important, our mission objectives, this is one of the missions that said near a dungeon floor blank. What this actually means is that as long as you enter the dungeon and fulfill the objective, so for me in particular, I just have to have a gold gummy, you will count as succeeding at this mission. So I could literally have walked into the first floor with a gold gummy in my inventory already. Yeah, for the find ones, you don't even have to find them on the dungeon floor, you just have to have them. I could have walked in the first floor using an escape orb and it would have still counted. This counts for anything that is near dungeon floor, say it's like find an item or like do something like that. I believe they're all actually find an item. You can literally just walk into the dungeon with the item and it counts. So I'm gonna meet you guys once I either find an escape orb and get out of here, or I just finish all of Frosty Forest. And moving into Mount Freeze, we have Chimecho. Chimecho in the main series games is just like a really rare Pokemon that isn't really good because it's so rare and it's not really much better than other Pokemon. But Chimecho in Mystery Dungeon it's not terrible, really. I mean, 95 base special attack, a Psychic coming from this thing might actually hurt. It has some pretty decent special defense and defensive and HP, like, honestly, Chimecho is not half bad, and Levitate is a fantastic ability. Next up, another very strange Gen 2 Pokemon. This is Pineco. Pineco is a pure bug type, and it's trying to be a physical wall. Sturdy is not really that great of an ability for it. I guess, I mean, no one-hit KO is always a nice thing, but it didn't get its massive buff until Gen 5, and this thing does evolve into a really, really good tank, but I kind of prefer having offensive capabilities in Mystery Dungeons since I'm going to be directly traveling with this Pokemon, and I can't just like switch it out into a good matchup, because you have to play every single matchup in Mystery Dungeon. So Pineco, it's alright, it's just, I don't know, it's not really going to be doing any damage on any front. It is a very good wall though, I'll give it that. Yet another Pokemon that evolves into an absolute beast of a Pokemon. This is Pupitar. Pupitar in this kind of mid-state does have a really awful type. Shed Skin is luckily a fantastic ability, honestly, in Mystery Dungeon. Not having to walk around the entire floor with a status condition is so good. I mean, it really does save you pretty well a lot of the time. And its stats are kind of jack of all trades-ish, and they're pretty decent. That 84 attack, I mean, not a Mudslap, a Dig from this Pokemon would actually hurt quite a bit. But really, it's another Pokemon to just stick around until it evolves because it turns into an absolute beast of a Pokemon. We have a very cute but kind of disappointing Pokemon up next. This is Seal. Seal, luckily Thick Fat is a pretty good ability. It's going to completely wall any fire type, but its stats are just kind of bad. It evolves into a water ice type, and I don't like that type either all that much. I mean, I just don't like ice at all. But its stats are just, it doesn't support it really doing anything. I mean, its highest stat is special defense, like really. It's still gonna take a ton of damage from a grass type. Yeah, Seal, you're cute, but not really doing anything for me. Now we have Seviper. Seviper has the same great Shed Skin ability that Pupitar had, and its stats are actually much better. Sadly, it doesn't evolve like Pupitar does, and Pupitar becomes a complete monster when it evolves, but Seviper on its own, 100 base attack, special attacks, trying to be kind of a mixed attacker with that. It's not really a terrible Pokemon. That poison stuff from it, that's gonna do a lot of damage with that 100 attack. And you know, Seviper, not half bad. Shelgon is the evolved form of those Bagons that we saw earlier. You can see its attack and defense pretty incredible in this stage. It is gonna do damage, it's not gonna take a lot of damage. Pure Dragon type is pretty decent. It's gonna be weak to other dragons, which are not all that common in Mystery Dungeon, and ice. And really, Rockhead, great ability. Shelgon, definitely still a great Pokemon in this line and is only going to get better when it evolves. Swablu, I think, is part of another line of Pokemon that's kind of underrated, but in its rookie form like this, I don't know why I'm going to keep using Digimon terms. I literally don't know anything about Digimon, I just know that they're called rookies. It's just kind of a generic normal flying type in this point. Swablu is trying to be a special tank in this in its evolution. Natural Cure is thankfully an incredible ability to give it, and its special defense does get pretty good when it evolves, but right now it's just kind of a normal flying type. Vigoroth is part of a very unique line of Pokemon. We saw Slackoth earlier. Slackoth has the ability of that every other turn it's going to do absolutely nothing, which is pretty terrible for it, Vigoroth loses that ability and gets Vital Spirit instead, which is a great ability. We've seen how annoying sleeping is in Mystery Dungeon already, so being completely immune of it, pretty nice, and its stats are actually decent overall. If you want to evolve it again, it regains that ability Truant, which makes it do nothing every other turn, but it becomes a complete monster of a Pokemon stats-wise. Like, literally, we're talking some of the best stats ever. But for a normal type, this is probably one of the best ones that you can get just off the... just right now in Mystery Dungeon. Remember how I said Vigoroth was one of the best normal types you can get? Well, Zangoose is pretty much the absolute best that I would recommend. It has immunity, which is a great ability, and it has some incredible offensive stats. Man, a slash from this Pokemon is gonna really hurt. And that's all that Zangoose really does. It's there to do damage. It's the sworn enemy of Seviper, even though it's not like a Psychic or a Ground type or anything. But man, Zangoose I think is actually one underrated Pokemon. Oh wow, another earthquake? I guess it settled down. There've been a lot of earthquakes lately. Oh hi, you're up early, Skipper. Did you notice the earthquake earlier? It's hard to get decent sleep when there's so many earthquakes. Hey! Oh, Lombre. What's the matter? Oh, we need you at the square. Everyone's gathering there. Is there something wrong? I'm not really sure. Shiftry's calling everyone out. He's getting the other rescue teams to come. Skipper, let's go. Wow, look at all the Pokemon. Looks like they sent out a lot of rescue teams for help. I've seen some pretty famous leaders from faraway places. That's Shiftry. I wonder what he's planning to do with all these rescue teams. Can I get everyone's attention here? It's not my style to get up in front of everyone like this and... Sorry, this isn't the time for that. There's big trouble. Alakazam's team went underground, but they haven't returned. What? Is that true? Yes, unfortunately. Alakazam led his team underground to quell Groudon. And that's it. We haven't heard anything from them. To be honest, we have no idea what became of them. No idea? How's that possible? This is Alakazam you're talking about. But they haven't come back yet, that's for real. That's right, it sounds as if Groudon is out of our league. What? It's that tough, this Pokemon named Groudon? Why don't you go underground and see for yourself? Huh? You gotta be kidding me. There's magma flowing everywhere underground. I'd burn up if I went anywhere like that. Quiet please, be quiet. There's no denying that's dangerous underground. It's not a place where just anyone can go. That's why I asked so many rescue teams to gather today. I propose that a special team be formed by choosing the best of the best. Who will step forward? Who among us will be the heroes to take on the challenges underground? Say, Skipper, this is a great opportunity. Let's go. Don't bother, you guys. What's wrong with you? Can you step aside? You guys have gotten a lot tougher, that's for sure, but there's plenty of tougher Pokemon out there. Will no one step forward? I'll go. Whoa. It's Blastoise. You mean Team Hydro's Roughneck Blastoise? Those water bouts on the back and rock of water are so fast to punch through thick iron plates. It's rumored Groudon is a ground type. I'm a water type, strongest ground type. My Hydro Pump will put Groudon down in one shot. I'll join the party too. Woohoo, it's Octillery. She's Team Constrictor's leader. She's known for persistent and clingy attacks. She ensnares foods with her tentacles and headbutts them. She'd be nasty at facing any battle of endurance. Darlings, when I see a tough Pokemon, I want to tangle with them. See, how about not forgetting about me? Wow, Golem, he's the most brutal out of Team Rumble Rock. His body's rock hard, he's supposed to be able to withstand huge explosions without taking damage. If Groudon's awake and underground, that suits me fine. I'll use my rock throw to keep it buried underground. Oh, Blastoise, Octillery, and Golem. No one can complain about your selection. We will have these rescuers head underground. Yeah, good choice. You're representing us, make us proud. Let's go. Win it for us. Save Alakazam's team. See, they look pretty tough, huh? Let him handle things. Can't be helped, Skipper. I wish we could have gone too, but there's nothing we can do about that. Leslie's team can take care of things underground. We'll keep doing the best we can in our rescue work. Well, you know about that why not request? Well, we're gonna be shirking our duties one more. We're gonna head to Thunderwave Cave really fast. Feeling a little envious, Teddy Ursa is often seen licking its paws that have soaked up sweet honey. While it may be Sticky shaking paws with a Teddy Ursa, one can't help but feel a twinge of envy. And on that note, if we look at our job list now that we've entered that Wondermail code, I don't know if the Red Rescue Team one is the same, but you see Client Plusle, Objective Help Me, Silent Chasm B4F. I believe any Wondermail code that has Plusle as a client will work for this. So if you're sharing Wondermail codes with a different version, and your Red Rescue Team friend goes, hey, I have this mission from a Plusle, that might work. I don't know the specifics of it, but if I had to surmise based on what I've seen from my experience, that's what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go out and run that Silent Chasm mission really fast. Skipper Innocent, Part 2. Quote from Charizard on the scene. That's what I thought right from the start. Quote from Tyranitar on the scene. That muckraking Gengar, he's not getting away with this. He better be ready for it. And if we successfully complete the mission for Plusle, ooh, we get a whopping Gravel Rock 10. Oh, Max Elixir. Green Gummy, okay. I think it's the first Green Gummy we've gotten. And I'll see you guys in a second. And now we see, now that we're in Thunderwave Cave, we're actually seeing Wild Plusle pop up now. And hopefully, oh, I was hoping I would recruit it in one shot right there while talking about it. We've actually had like 4 Rattatas try and join the team since I went into this dungeon, and I had to say no to all of them because I was hoping to recruit Plusle on this trip. But yes, now that we have done that mission, now Plusle will start appearing in Thunderwave Cave, and I suppose elsewhere if it appears elsewhere. I don't think it does though. But I'm gonna still wander around a bit, see if I can maybe try and recruit a Plusle. If not, well, I'll just go take care of that off screen. And I'll see you guys when we're back at Pokemon Square. Ooh, yes, I did it, Plusle. All right, what the hell did I name mine in so I can have a fitting name with this? They really, really want me to at this point. But you know what? I didn't say it. The key! Head out to the desert region. Been wondering what lies beyond the mysterious locked doors of the Solar Cave. There's been a breakthrough. Reports indicate that door keys are easily found in the desert region. Explorers are advised to compose teams with Pokemon adapted to the desert environment. That is something for much, much, much later in the game. We're not gonna come to that for a long time. But anyway, as I said, we're back here in Pokemon Square. We added a Plusle to our team. We went around, did a bunch of rescue missions. It felt nice to be back doing this after so long. Helping out a bunch of Pokemon around here. We have our task next time to go to Uproar Forest to punish the bad Mankey, quote unquote, that have been terrorizing Wynot and Wobbuffet and all the people there. So we're going to go take care of that next episode. We see people shaping up to go help out Alakazam. Everything looks pretty right in the world, alright? Well, I'll see you guys next time.